there is power in the tongue. You can speak life, you can speak death. And if you're going to come and speak death over your life and say, because this happened, I can't move forward. Because of that happened, I can't do this. Or because this happened, I'm oppressed, right? Because of this situation, I'm oppressed. You end up actually oppressing yourself. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Kalina Carlisle. This week, we're going to be talking about the victim mindset, going from victim mindset to the victor mindset. So just to define what victim mindset, for those who probably do not understand or know what it is, the victim mindset is a mentality where individuals perceive themselves as either helpless or powerless, blaming external circumstances for their life difficulties, for their trials, for their tribulations, the things that they go through. So they're always consistently looking to blame things on the outside, externally, for either their struggles, their downfalls, their mishaps, their own responses to situations, their own loss of control. They are looking to blame people for their life and their behaviors. And that mindset has a huge impact on a person's life. To be in a place where you're unable to internally take responsibility for your life, your situations, your behavior, your responses, or even when things truly do happen to you that are outside of your control, that are actually really a result of external circumstances, you still will not be able to push forward if you come from a victim mindset, because a victim mindset, which we'll talk about later in this video, can keep you in a place of stagnation, a place where you're unable to grow. It's a limited mindset that can keep you in a place of negativity. And so even though it is true that we go through life experiences that causes us to go through difficulties, go through troubles, there are people that hurt us. There are actual pandemics. There's actual economic losses or downfalls or hardships that happen to each and every single one of us. But there is a difference between individuals who adopt a victim mindset versus a victor mindset, or you can say a growth mindset. So a person with a victim mindset is going to focus solely on the negativity of the situation or how the situation hindered them. They're not going to come from a place where, this happened, this sucks. What can I do now in response to make my life better, even though this situation occurred, even though this situation slowed me down? What is the next step? What am I doing next? How can I grow, or what can I learn from what happened so that this circumstance does not happen again, or this circumstance or this situation that happened does not have power over the direction of my life? Okay. So a victim is always giving power to external circumstances, to things outside of them, outside of their own internal control. Okay. And honestly, we really don't have control of anything that happens on the outside, anything that happens externally. The only control we truly ever have is over our own response, over our own discipline, ourselves. So a person with a victor mindset or a growth mindset, something happens, a situation, or they face difficulties or hard tribulations and trials. They're not going to sit there and allow that trial or that difficulty to change the trajectory of what it is that they are doing or the mission that they're on. They're going to maintain perseverance. Let's say they lose their job, that job got lost. Instead of sitting there and being sad and hurt because that job is now gone because they don't have, the income, they're going to be like, okay, maybe they're going to feel hurt, right? Naturally, we're all going to have our natural feelings, We're going to go through our processes that we have to go through emotionally and mentally. But a person with a victim mindset is going to say, okay, what is the next step? What can I do differently? How do I get another job? X, Y, and Z. How do I set up a new plan? Okay, whatever that plan is, go to God. Hey, God, what is the plan for my life? Where are you moving me? Where are you pushing me to? Right? Instead of honing in and taking years and time from their life blaming someone else. Okay? So we all have experienced childhood trauma or some type of hardship in our life. Many of us have experienced trauma within our upbringing or within our relationships or just how we live life. And sometimes the victim, when they go through trauma, most of the time, majority of the time, they are going to stay in a place that's stagnant because they're so focused on the trauma. They're so focused on, well, my mom wasn't this. My dad wasn't this. I didn't have this. I didn't have access to this education. I didn't have access to that. My mom didn't teach me this. My dad didn't teach me that. Well, this traumatic thing happened to me. So I'm unable to move forward. I'm not like other people who have not had things happen to them. And so you see how that mindset, what you say to yourself, like the Bible tells us, right? That there is power in the tongue. You can speak life, you can speak death. And if you're going to come and speak death over your life and say, because this happened, I can't move forward. Because of that happened, I can't do this. Or because this happened, I'm oppressed, right? Because of this situation, I'm oppressed. You end up actually oppressing yourself. You end up victimizing yourself long term, longer than what God even wanted you to be. God does not want us to be in a place of victim. He doesn't want us to be in a place where we're hurting. God says actually that we should count trials and tribulations, count it all joy, right? Because it births patience, it births maturity. He doesn't want us to stay in a defeated place. Right? That's the lie of the enemy. The enemy needs you to stay in a place of defeat, a place where you are not able to push past the trauma, push past the trouble, push past the circumstances, the hardships, the things that you go through, the things that you experience, right? Because when you are in a place of a victim mindset, you're stuck there, it limits your personal growth. You're not able to grow. You're not able to mature. It hinders your ability to solve problems, right? Because you're not thinking, what can I do in order to solve the issue? What can I do? What needs to happen in order to solve the issue? Instead, the issue is big. It's controlling you. It's controlling your life. It's controlling your thoughts. It's controlling your mindset. You're not able to think critically, think strategically on how you can move past or navigate the circumstance or the situation. Okay. It also negatively affects relationships and your overall well-being when you're stuck in a place of victim mindset. So there are a few signs of the victim mindset. And this is how you can tell yourself if you're battling with a victim mindset. So number one is going to be self-pity, right? Self-pity and blaming others. A person with the victim mindset is often having a lot of pity towards himself, like poor me, poor me that ever happened, or poor me that I got fired, or poor me that I lost that opportunity, or poor me that happened to me, or poor me, my divorce, or poor me, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my husband, whatever, my friend, they left me, poor me, right? And when you stay in that mindset, that pity mindset, it takes away from you being able to have a growth mindset, from you being able to have a positive mindset, right? It even keeps you away from a relationship with God because you're so focused on the pain, on the bad, that you're not focusing on the healing, on the growing, on the moving forward, the perseverance part of it or aspect of it. Okay. And when if we're honest, a lot of the things that happen in our lives, we play a certain role or responsibility in it as well. Don't hear me out. I'm not saying that every single situation in our life we had some form of responsibility. Yes, there are things that are happened, traumatic experiences that have happened that was entirely on another person or another external circumstances, correct? But even in those situations, it's our responsibility to take control over our healing and over how we're going to respond and how we're going to move forward in our lives. To not give those things power to control our lives or to stop us from living or stop us from moving forward. Okay. And so there are situations, though, a lot of situations in life where we kind of have responsibility in it. A lot of them, right? Maybe you lost a relationship. You with a friend or with your actual spouse. You ended up in divorce. Maybe there are things that you actually did contribute to. Maybe there were areas where you were weak. Maybe there were areas you didn't have strength in. Maybe there was things that you didn't know. Or even, for example, if you were someone who was in an abusive relationship, it's important to say, I stayed in this abusive relationship, and not, that's not saying that sometimes people be getting threatened, right? I've been there, know that. But also sometimes you can stay in a verbally abusive relationship, or a relationship where a person consistently cheats on you, right? And you have some responsibility after a certain point. If a person continuously cheats on you, a person continuously degrades you. And the responsibility is, you didn't love yourself enough to know your worth, that you deserved better. You didn't love you enough to realize that that was wrong and that you needed to get out of that situation. That you probably loved someone else more than you loved yourself. You loved the abuser more than you loved yourself, right? You learned something in that situation that maybe for your next marriage, your next friendship, you need to make sure first that you love yourself. And I'm not talking about in a narcissistic way, but in a way, like, you love yourself for who you are, for who God created you to be, because he made no mistake when he made you. And so when you can have that type of outlook on you, you see how precious you are. You see how amazing you are because of what God did in you and what he's doing in you and who he has created you to be. You know that he does not want you to be tortured and destroyed and beaten and hurt. He doesn't want that for you. He wants you to prosper. God says, I have plans to prosper you, to push you forward, right? And so you learn in that situation that I have to take responsibility for learning to love myself, learning to believe the things that are positive, to believe the things that God is saying about me, who I am as a person. I need to grow as an individual so that I don't accept that type of love, that type of abuse, that type of situation in my life anymore. I need to learn to establish boundaries, healthy boundaries, understand what it is that I do actually deserve and what I'm worth, right? In order to not allow that situation to happen again. So that is taking responsibility, right? Instead of that situation happening and you staying in a place where you blame your ex, blame your ex-friend over and over again. It's their fault. It's their fault. This is why I'm hurting. This is why I'm a single parent now. This is why I'm this way or that way, or this why I don't trust people anymore. This is why I don't trust friends anymore. Like, we have to remember that there are people that are going to hurt us. There are situations that are going to hurt us, but it's not true for every situation. It's not true for every single friend in your life. And you could stop yourself, close a door in your life because you accept the fact that you could never trust a friend anymore, that you could never marry anymore, that you could never have this type of relationship anymore, right? It could be something that God has for you, a friendship, a relationship, something he has for you. But because you have this mindset now that you've adopted, that is because of those people, because of that person, I am not going to move forward in that. I am too hurt. It's because of that person I can't have friendships anymore. It's because of that situation I'm not opening up my heart anymore. I'm no longer being vulnerable anymore. Right? Vulnerability is a scary thing. Having a victor mindset is a scary thing because it requires looking yourself in the mirror, the man, the woman in the mirror, and saying, what am I going to do about it? What do I need to change within myself? How did I contribute to my situation? How did I contribute to my life? What am I responsible for? How do I take responsibility and move forward? What behavior, what mindset, what thought, what needs to change, what belief needs to be do I need to get rid of? Right? And that moves into the second sign of a victim mindset is the lack of personal responsibility, right? Avoid taking responsibility for your own actions, for your choices. You rob a bank, not saying you robbed a bank, but you rob a bank or you rob a store, and instead of internally realizing that you were wrong for robbing the store, maybe you get arrested, right? Because someone calls the cops and the cops wrestle you down or something. You're blaming the cops. It's their fault, right? It's the cops' fault. They did wrong, even though you robbed the bank, right? Or you cheat on your significant other and you're like, well, I cheated because you wasn't giving me attention. I cheated because you wasn't doing X, Y, and Z. It's your fault I cheated, right? No accountability. Or someone who loses their temper and they hit someone or they damage property because they're angry and they're upset because of what someone said, and they're like, well, it's because of you that I acted this way. It's because of you that I broke that, or that I punched that, or I did that, and it's your fault, right? No, I didn't tell you I'm angry, go hit the wall, or I told you go and do this. No, you did it. It's because you don't have self-control. It's because you did it, right? You didn't, regardless of what a person said to upset you, you did not have to respond in a violent way. You did not have to respond in an abusive way or in a scare tactic by hitting and hurting and destroying things. You didn't have to. That's a lack of self-control on your part. Yes, that person probably said something that made you upset, but that person is not responsible for how you respond. Only you are. Only you as an individual are responsible for how you respond and react to situations. Okay? So the next sign, and of course it's obvious, is going to be negative self-talk. Okay? Constant negative self-talk, right? That reinforcing of those beliefs that you're powerless, that you're not good enough, that you're stupid, I'm dumb, I'm not worth anything, why even try? Why even try to be better? I should just go do this. I should just give up. I should not go forward. I should not do that. Or everything's always going to go wrong. Everything's always going to fail. Everything's always going to just not work out right. Like everything's gloom, gloom, bad news. Boom, 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 whatever. Like it's constant negativity. Constant negativity. Why even try, right? Like the system is not going to let me become rich. The system is not going to let me become great. Why even try? Why even try to get an education? Why even try to, be successful in that area? Why even try this relationship? Why even try to do the right thing? Because it's all going to go to the wayside. It's all going to fall. It's all going to fail. You already have this mindset that things are not going to work out. And what you think about, it's going to eventually start to pour out into your actions. It's going to pour out into how you operate as a person in the world. And trust me, that is going to push people away from you. If you're expecting failure, if you're expecting things to not work out, if you're expecting to feel just things are not ever going to get great for you or better, and that you should just roll over and die somewhere. Not saying that it's that extreme, but you just feel this way. That's going to impact how you are able to show up as a person every single day. You're not going to be able to show up. You're not going to be able to push forward. You're not going to be able to persevere. You're not. You're going to eventually fail because you're pushing yourself to that. That is what you're accepting. It is so true that what you think, how you see yourself, does impact the trajectory of your life. It impacts where you go. And that's why it's so important to let go of the victim mindset, to let go of that negativity. Stop allowing lies to be the truth for your future. Stop looking to the past to create the path for your future. The past has no business in the future. We look to the past as a reference point, as a learning point for, okay, I don't go back there no more. I don't touch that no more. I don't touch that no more. I don't do that anymore, right? That's not where I'm going to go. Not as a place where I'm a constantly look at it. I'm a constantly operate in fear. I'm a constantly think about what happened to me and what went down. Because also when you have that victim mindset, it can eventually lead you to thinking the world owes you. And I'm going to tell you this very straight and very directly. The world doesn't owe you anything. Nobody owes you anything. No one. The world does not owe you. Your mom does not owe you. Your dad does not owe you. No one owes you. Now, they may owe you some money, right? But you might not get that. That's why you shouldn't borrow money. I'm just kidding. but seriously, people don't owe you, right? The world does not owe you anything. The world is the world. The world is sinful. It has drama, craziness in it, but it doesn't owe anything. And if you stay in this place where you think that people owe you all the time, you're never going to go out there and just get what you need to get. Do what you need to do. Right? Keeps you from a growth mindset, keeps you in a limited mindset, right? In a mindset that you have a stagnation, a lack of growth, right? It prevents you from taking risk in life, pursuing opportunities, and achieving your fullest potential. You will never reach your fullest potential by staying in a victim mindset. You will have strained relationships, and you will have a cycle of blame and resentment in your relationships. You'll have relationships with people and you'll always find reasons that it's their fault for why you react the way you react, or why your relationships failed, or, whatever. You stay in this place where you have a lot of failed relationships or unhealthy relationships because you keep blaming everyone else instead of looking at the person in the mirror and saying, how did I contribute? Right? What did I do? Right? And it pushes people away. To be honest, no one wants to be around a person who is gloom, and bad news, right? Someone who thinks the world owes them, who has a negative outlook, a negative perspective on life, right? Especially all the time. Or someone who's constantly blaming every single body else, every single person in their life, except looking within and seeing where their contribution comes from. So the victim mindset can also contribute to a lot of psychological issues like anxiety, depression, stress, unnecessary stress, and anxiety, right? Anxiety about the world, about your life, about your situations. It can cause a lot of depression when you're constantly in a place of depression, because that's what you're thinking about: negativity. You're thinking about how it's gloom and bloom, right? There's no hope for you. There's no growth for you. You're just in a constant state of sadness and negativity. You're not able to push forward, right? You're not able to even honestly have healthy conversations or healthy communication, because if someone tries to have a conversation with you about healthy communication, you're not able to have a conversation back and forth where you're able to take responsibility, where you're able to see how you show up in situations, how to understand where other people are coming from, because you're solely focused on yourself. Sometimes you can't even have a conversation with people because you always constantly think people are just out to attack you, out to hurt you, out to say mean things to you, out to destroy you, because you're destroying yourself. So if someone brings constructive criticism, or they say, hey friend, I didn't like this, or hey friend, I didn't like that, you might take it as, oh my God, this person hates me. This person's trying to destroy me, or this person is, reinforcing what I already believe about myself. And this person just doesn't like me, or you go to extreme allegations toward the person, right? Accusations, like, because they said this about me, they just don't like me as a person. They think I'm a failure. But it's not what they're communicating. They're not saying you're a failure. They're not communicating that they don't like you. They're just saying, hey, what you did hurt me. Or hey, what you did, there's actually a better way that you could probably do it. You can take my advice or you could not. It's up to you. You are solely responsible for what you want to do or how you want to live. And I'm going to love you regardless, but I do want to bring this to you, right? But if you're in a place of a victim mindset, you're not going to be able to hear it. All you're going to hear is you're a failure, you're stupid. You're going to hear all these extremes because you're already believing those extremes about yourself, right? You see how that limits your growth? If you can't take in constructive criticism, if you can't listen to your friends, your family, people close to you when they're trying to tell you something, do you see how that limits your ability to push forward, to grow? It really, really does. That's why it's so important, so important to try to let go of that victim mindset. God does not want you to have a victim mindset. That is not what He created you to have or where He wants you to be. You cannot even honestly have a true relationship with God by being in a victim mindset. Why? Because if you're in a victim mindset, right? Again, you're back to blaming everything externally. The thing with coming to God, coming to Christ, is you do a whole lot of self-examination, a whole lot of looking at the woman in the mirror. You do a lot of it, right? You're doing a lot of it. I mean, I was like, when I first came to God, it was like, man, you are trash. And I don't mean that to speak negatively about me, but Like, I sin so much. I need God. Like you're terrible for what things you have done. How you've contributed to failed relationships, how you've contributed to failed opportunities in your life, how you've caused situations to play out in your life because of your actions, because of your responses. You held on to addictions longer than you needed to because of your belief, your mindset, because you were a victim. It took a lot of self-examination. And when you're coming to Christ, it's going to take that. You have to be real. You're going to come up close, up front with who you are as a person. Because if you truly want God to work through you, you really want him to change you, make a new creation in you, we have to sacrifice those parts of us. We got to sacrifice our own understanding, what we think is true, what we think is right, what we think is the way. Right? We have to see things differently in order for God to really work through us. Our hearts have to be differently. We cannot be speaking death out of our mouths or having death in our thoughts and our mindsets and think that God is going to be able to fully penetrate our hearts, penetrate us, and we're going to be able to form a relationship. We have to have a level of sacrifice. We have to have a level of self-examination, ability to say, hey, lay down my own understanding, lay down my own thought process, my own beliefs, put it all away, right? So that he can truly do what it is that he needs to do in us, right? So transitioning to a victor mindset, right? It's going to take self-awareness, being aware of who you are, how you think, what are some of your thoughts, how you are responding to situations. You can do things, practice things like writing down your negative thoughts, writing down the negative beliefs that you have about yourself. It may require healing trauma, healing things that you've been through, going to God and working with him on healing and, partnering with, therapists and professionals that can help you start to work on some of the trauma and different things that you are going through, right? It's about accepting you have had a victim mindset. You've been causing your own stagnation. You've been your own enemy for a long time, right? Maybe you're not your only enemy, but you've been a big part. You've played a big enemy in your own life. You've hindered your life in a lot of ways yourself. The devil didn't even really need to do anything. You already did it, right? you're the hater or the enemy, right? People call people haters, but I don't really, call it that. But, you think they're the hindering, but it's you. It's your thought process. It's your beliefs. You're getting in your way and you're getting in God's way, right? So I encourage you to recognize that victim mindset, accept personal responsibility for your thoughts, for your emotions, and for your actions, and focus on cultivating a positive mindset, a mindset where there is importance on thinking positively, breaking down those negative beliefs, those false beliefs, right? Replacing them with what is true, what is real, right? What God says about you is true. That is what is real, right? He tells you what it is that he wants you to think. You have to go in and start to tackle those thoughts. That's going to be so important. Practicing gratitude, being grateful, right? That is a big thing. Being grateful and expressing gratitude. Maybe you are going through things that are outside of your control because of you lost a job or economic hardships, or you lost a marriage, or you lost a friend or relationship, or you lost a person to death. They died. Whatever you have going on, it's important to have gratitude. If you woke up and you were able to walk today, if you woke up and you were able to breathe out of both nostrils, if today you woke up and you was not sick, if today you woke up and you had a piece of bread in your pantry, if today you woke up and you still had enough gas to get to your car, if today you woke up and you were disease free, if today you woke up and you did have a disease, but your symptoms wasn't as strong, or if you woke up today and you were able to see, or you woke up today, you were able to hear, whatever the situation is, be thankful, practice gratitude, because when you come from a place of gratitude and not from a place of blaming and a place of focusing on what you don't have and negativity, you're going to start to build and cultivate a positive outlook, a positive mindset. You're going to start to see things in a different light. You're going to start to become a little bit more humble, right? More content, right? You're not going to see things the way that you used to see them before. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of attention to yourself and into your thoughts. I encourage you to set goals for your journey from going from victim to victor. Develop problem solving skills. Start to take actions and do things to overcome challenges that you are having in your life. Be mindful, like things that we go through in life, sometimes they suck. They really do. But remember, God tells us to consider them all joy, right? Because patience, maturity, so much can come out of it. So much understanding, so much wisdom can come from the things that we go through. Sometimes the worst thing you can come through can become your purpose. It can become something that God works through you and uses through you to help other people, right? So don't think that because something happened, a circumstances or a situation, that it's the end, because it's never the end. Are you alive right now? Are you listening to my podcast? Are you seeing me on this screen? Guess what? You are still here and it's not the end. You still have opportunity. You still have the ability to change the way you see things, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about your circumstances, and you still have the power to take responsibility and go from victim to victor. You still have time. God has blessed you with time to do so. And so I just leave you guys with a couple scriptures from a biblical perspective. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." God is going to renew your mind. You can trust him, go to him, right? Sometimes just reading the Bible and transforming them into biblical affirmations and different things like that can help you. I remember when I was first on this road to, going from a victim mindset when I was younger, one of the tools I did was writing out affirmations, biblical affirmations that motivated me, that shaped my mindset, and I posted them on every single mirror in my house. Every time I went to the bathroom, every time I showered, wherever a mirror was, I saw those, and it helped me cultivate a positive mindset. It helped me to not only think positively, but to think about God and think about what he says about me, right? And it helped me to eliminate those negative thoughts, that negative mindset that was keeping me in a place of stagnation. Okay. And you just have to trust that the renewing of your mind is going to help make that shift, right? It's about rewiring those thought processes, rewiring the dysfunction that's happening up in here. Okay. My favorite scripture is Philippians 4:8. And it says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is pure, whatever is noble and right, whatever is lovely," and I might got the words a little mixed up, "but whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." And God is telling us, think on things that are pure, that are right, right? He doesn't want us thinking about the negativity or playing the blame game. He wants us to think on things that are pure, good, admirable, noble, and lovely. Okay? That's what he wants from us. And so it's important for us to start to focus, if we're trying to come from a victim to a victor, to focus on those positive things and those uplifting things. Okay? And lastly, Isaiah 41:10, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Amen. God is with you through this process. Even if you're listening to this video right now, you're probably like, man, I don't even know how I'm going to do this. You're probably feeling a lot of emotions because you've been a victim. You've had a victim mindset. And you want so badly to shift into that growth mindset, into that victor mindset, so that it can no longer hinder your life, hinder your growth, hinder your relationship with others, with God, with yourself. You want to go away from the past, from the trauma, from the finger pointing, from the lack of responsibility, and move into perseverance, move into growth. You want to go into a more prosperous, a more fruitful future, away from that past, that place that you're probably in now, or that place that you've been at for so long, that only takes away from your life. Okay? So don't be discouraged. Do not allow this video to discourage you. That is not at all where I'm coming from. Okay? It's just to educate you on what the victim mindset is, how it impacts your life, how it just steals from you, how it impacts your relationship with God, and what it is that you can start to do in order to move from that mindset and move into the victor mindset, okay? Into that growth mindset. And so I just encourage you, I encourage you to stay close to God. I encourage you to do what is you need to do in order to set goals for yourself, to start to become more self-aware, to be more accepting of what it is, and to start going from blaming and thinking and looking out to external things, and to internally look within and say, hey, how can I now take responsibility? Okay? So for those of you who are also interested in some codependency work, which you can watch some more of my videos on the codependency series on my YouTube, or you can just check out the podcast wherever you're listening to, right? On Apple or Google. But this book is definitely going to be for someone who has battled with codependency, looking to learn how to love in a healthy way, overcome trauma and fears, and start to just establish healthy boundaries and healthy relationships within their life. It's available on Amazon. It's still available at a discounted rate, just because I want a lot of people to be able to receive this book and get this information, that because it's so helpful and it's so beneficial. It definitely is also going to be coming from a Christian perspective. So there's going to be a lot of things with faith that are going to also support you on that journey. The link for the book is going to be in the description below. And please like this video if you're on YouTube, just to help the algorithm so this video can get to more people. If you're on the podcast, please follow. Please remember to subscribe as well. I really hope this was beneficial to you and was a blessing to your life. Remember, I love you. God loves you. Take care. Bye.